Welcome to Secrets for an Inspirational Life with Mimi Novic, the place where every heart tells its story. Whether it's inspiration, courage or hope you need, you've come to the right place.
Thank you, Mimi. Thanks for the kind words and introducing me to your audience. Look forward to this
Oh,
interesting discussion.
thank you so much. And for everybody out there, where are you at the moment, Shiv?
Yeah, I am based out of, presently, I am based out of Pune. And I am not really fixed to one place. Sometimes I'm in the Himalayas. Just a month back, I was in the Himalayas for 3 months. Before that, for a year, I was in Vrindavan, which is a spiritual holy place.
Mm-hmm.
And just 2 years, 3 years back, I was in Poland for 3 years. So I actually last 3, 4 years, I've been really moving around a lot. And now I myself don't know where I am. Literally.
I know you paused there because I know you're in India at the moment. But
Yes.
it's an interesting question when you say to people, well, where are you at the moment? And when people say that to me sometimes, I pause also and I say, what do you mean? You mean in my life, or do you mean in the world? So
Okay.
sometimes the most simplest question can evoke the strongest reactions, isn't it?
Yeah, I have another answer to this. I am actually in the present moment.
Well, this is the most wonderful reply. Indeed, we are children of the moment.
Yeah.
Absolutely the truth. Absolutely
Yeah.
the truth. And I think that when we try to look forward or to look back, is when many of our issues, whether they be mental or spiritual or physical in some ways, occur, is when we don't actually embrace this very present moment, which is actually all that we have right now.
Yes. So the life is, we have been uh, designed to live in the present moment. We are supposed to live in the present moment. We forget that. We don't introspect and we continue to not live in this moment, but only in the past and the future. And only if we take a pause and introspect and realize what we are doing, then only we can gradually bring that change in ourselves. And then there is a whole lot of, it's not so simple the way I say, but it takes time to do all this contemplation. And this is actually a spiritual practice to really figure out why are we living in future and past, why not. So it's a big, it's initially it looks like a complex process.
Mm, mm. Now, I want to come back to that, but before we do that, I would like you to tell us a little bit about, if we want to go back to the beginning now, as to how did you embark upon your spiritual journey? Because I know you had very high-powered jobs, and you were a vice president or a president, and you of many corporations, and you've done many, many things, and you were in the Navy, and you know, very responsible jobs. So, how did it happen that here you are now, following this path in your life?
Yes, some answers we don't have, but what probably I can think of logically and spiritually, that there is always the journey of the soul. And the journey of the soul is not this just this life. Probably there is something carried forward from the past life. So maybe in the past life I was already on a spiritual path and might have reached somewhere, and from there I was supposed to continue in this life. And whatever has to happen in our life, well, there is always a time when it happens. So probably my time came some 20 years back when I started thinking about the yogis in the Himalayas, and how do they gain all the knowledge. It is said that those yogis, they get all the knowledge and they live in those remote places. They have no books, nothing, but they get all the knowledge and all the people in the world flock to them for wisdom in search for real yogis. Though it's different that we land up in front of different fake people, gurus and yogis, but that's a different issue. So that was one of my curiosity, and I also was thinking about the scriptures, the Vedas, and I heard that these Vedas have all the wisdom and all, even like Bible or all the Bible everybody knows, but in India there is a loads of scriptures. So that was another curiosity which came up, and that's how my beginning happened. But that was very it was very it was not conspicuous that I'm doing some spiritual search, but I started questioning about life, and few of my situations in my life also started triggered my questioning that what exactly I'm doing, for whom I am earning, who belongs to you, how do people live, how do people live with different layers of society and with economic background, and despite having a good position, have I really achieved something, and what is the difference I have made? So there are many right questioning started, and that was like a something called sadhana or practice, where you are doing a great contemplation and introspection about everything you're happening in your life and doing in your life. So you're very observant. It's not about being very observant and aware. You should have to be very aware about not just flowing like a like a in a rat race, but you're stepping out and trying to see. So this is what I started doing, and in 2015, some 8 years back, I had a very strong calling to the Himalayas. So this was like something like supernatural only, I will say, because you just don't get that strong urge to go there. And then I started traveling during my work. I took vacations and 2 weeks and went to Rishikesh, the yoga capital of the world, and started searching for these yogis to see what wisdom I can get. So that's how it started. And during those trips, even in the very first trip itself, I had some out of time and space experiences where my mind went empty in one of the realized yogis cave, who doesn't he passed away in 1974, but that cave has some great vibrations. It kind of purified my mind, eliminated all the thoughts, and took me to come in some kind of a thoughtless state, and which continued like that. Like now I have a very good control over my mind. I can remain thoughtless, but if I'm doing something, I'm only thinking of that. There's no other thought coming in. So this kind of thing, and then some more experiences happened further in 16 and 17, and they kept happening, and I don't really care about those things because they do happen in this path. There's a
Mm-hmm.
reason for that. And I also understood, and then I also wanted to share my experiences that scientifically, I'm being an electrical engineer. I also think with I have a background of modern science plus spiritual science. So when you combine it, probably it gives a good clarity. So I could understood the whole process, how this mind became empty, the science behind it, and then I thought, why not share with people? And I did some experimentation, tried teaching in Europe, because mostly Europeans were coming to uh, Rishikesh for learning yoga and all this. And I thought they are not getting what they want. So I thought, let me go, take it to the doorstep rather than they coming here. And as luck would have been, I had to move to Poland in 2019. And so my retreats and all started. So that's my journey. Then with COVID, I had to stop. Then I came back in 20. Then the last since 20, my life has been very turbulent, going through very complicated situation off and on. And it's needed. These tough situations are needed. It's like a test for you. How
Yes,
do you deal with
indeed.
that? And you have to come out, successful with flying colors. So this is something. Every situation is a learning. Life is a book. So if you are really spiritual, then you have to be not perturbed by like whoever throws stones in the water, but you don't generate a wave. You remain undisturbed and unperturbed by what is happening externally, because external world is illusion. This realization is very important to have. And that takes a lot of time. It doesn't happen by talking or listening. You need to do a lot of contemplation.
Yes, I mean, it is a very high spiritual station to be unaffected by this outside world, because we are somehow part of it in the physical reality. And yet, somehow, our real essence doesn't really belong here. It is passing through. Now, I want to ask you about these yogis. For people out there that will probably write in and ask me about it, tell me a little bit about who these yogis are.
Okay, I met some yogis, and I went to a place where the yogi had lived, but his teachings or his vibrations are there. So you want me to talk about only the yogis who are living now? In fact, two, three of them have passed.
Whatever your experience is of them, and it doesn't matter if you met them and they have now, been veiled, or, a little bit about who they are, what they signify, and, the essence of them. Because the real spiritually high people are pretty much, you would never know, because they're hidden these days. To most people, they are hidden, I think. And they say that the saints have shut the doors and locked themselves up because of these turbulent times, although they're working on another level, of course. But a lot of people would not even realize that they'd met such a person. So I'm curious, and for people out there who would like to know about these people, what is your experience of them?
Okay, I understood your question. I will give you one example, which is very like a layman language. If you want to go buy apples, and if you know how to buy good apples, it's not the app responsible for being picked up. A good apple is not responsible for being picked up by you. You are responsible to pick up a good apple. So the beauty lies in the eye of the beholder, and so if we have that discriminatory ability, if we have worked, if we put an effort to do some discernment at what's good and bad, people still struggle to make the right decisions. So if you have worked, if you have done a lot of observation and contemplation, it's basically, I'll use the word self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is the most important part of our life. This practice, which has to be done regularly and very sincerely, truthfully, not with the ego. Because if we do self-inquiry with ego, we will not reach. So when you are ripened, when you have reached certain level where you can actually resonate with the realized yogi, you will be able to find them. Now I will tell you one yogi. I did a lot of work. As I told you, in 2015, I went to Rishikesh. But before that, I was doing a lot of couple of years, around 6-7 years of work where I was just doing questioning and getting a lot of answers. So when I went to this place called Kedarnath, it is a very beautiful place, a very divine place. It looks out of the world. And it's the very famous temple of Lord Shiva here. And so I will not tell who's Lord Shiva and all, because then I'll get into the digress from the topic. So I went to the temple 2018, and then I just came out and I saw one yogi sitting there. Now, no one was meeting him. There was crowd. There were 300-400 people there, but nobody was meeting him. And I went and spoke to him for about 15-20 minutes. His video was on my channel. And I think last year he passed away, and he was living there for 20 years, and he was wearing clothes with his hands and legs exposed in a -4 degree temperature. And he lives there 12 months. And when that place is blocked by snow, but he used to live there. So I could identify him, and he also told me something very surprising, that he said, only a true spiritual seeker can come near me. Nobody will come near me. So that was like some kind of validation for me that, okay, my path is going in the right direction and I'm probably progressing properly. And so he's, and So I would say that if you are ready, you will be able to find them. That's in a very nutshell, rather than trying to make a story out of it. But if you are not ready, like I will give you another example. You are a class 12 student now. You want to, can you go and some PhD professor can teach you? So you are only, you have only class 12 high school, but how can somebody from a very big university, you think that person will teach you? You're not reached there. So here also in the spiritual world, it is not organized. There are no schools. So unfortunately, it remains very undefined now. For whatever reasons, I think we have kind of culled the old system, which probably would have existed even to provide teaching in the spiritual realm. So if so, we have to see if we, as we evolve, as we get this intelligence or intuition, we will connect. We will find them.
There's a saying, isn't there, about all of this is when the student is ready, the master
Exactly.
appears. Mm.
This is what I meant. So this is the meaning of the student is ready.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of people who are trying to move, but they want shortcuts. That's a natural tendency which a lot of us have, that we feel to do something else in the materialistic world. We will put in a lot of effort, but for our own human development as a human, we don't want to put that effort. We don't know how much effort to put. So we want. I see people are looking for shortcuts. They feel the saint should come to them. They should not go. And if they don't find, they say they don't exist. So this is like a dichotomy we are trying to create, and a self-inflicted paradox we are trying to create, and justify that, and then say, okay, this is a period now, end of it. Like, so we have concluded without really making an effort. So the effort achieving anything in life, as you said that I worked in senior positions. So behind every achievement, whether it's in the professional life or personal life or spiritual life, there has to be a lot of effort. And I always believed in, I enjoyed my work. So when I chose this path evolved, I put all my, blood and sweat and everything, wholehearted effort to move into this. Like a lot of people do one leg here and one leg in the world. I have actually totally taken a plunge, and then only you can achieve that. And I'm still way ahead. So should I tell you also about one or two yogis I met?
Yes, please, because let me ask you, are true yogis that you see, they are revered as holy people, aren't they? In some traditions, they are looked upon as highly elevated spiritual beings. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so they have left and renounced the world, because some holy people actually walk amongst us, but there are those that are, for example, in the Himalayas and in the mountains of different places around the globe, that are actually completely alone. And to get to see them is very difficult. Some don't even show themselves. So are the ones that you have seen, are they the ones that have let the world go and just are there in their presence? Or are they people that actually mingle amongst us mere mortals?
I've seen both kinds. I'll also tell you that why it's easy to find in Himalayas, because Himalayas is a very different mountain, and it is said that many yogis, many means I really don't know the numbers, but many yogis in certain areas have done a lot of meditation practices and spiritual practices. So the vibrations are very different. And I do feel, because I have seen Alps, I've seen different mountains in Europe also. I've traveled to some 12 countries in Europe, but I've seen many mountains. But this mountain always gives some different vibrations. I don't know why. And obviously, I also had some spiritual out of time and space experiences in certain places. and
Mm-hmm.
even in the presence of some of those. So, like there are both kind of yogis who are still mingling. Some are not mingling, and now there is also uh, because of this YouTube, there are many YouTubers now who feel this is another market to find these yogis and make a video. So because of that, also there is some influx of YouTubers to find these people. But when I see the conversations, so uh, those yogis have good knowledge, but the guy who's questioning them is really not evolved. So that conversation really doesn't come out well. But I have met some yogis who are very evolved and self realized. They are completely isolated from the world. They live in isolation. And but even if they are there when some people are around, but they still remain immersed in their own self. They're very much established in their own self. And it's not easy to live in those places in a cave with nothing. And like I have just started my own journey. I had lived for 3 months in the Himalayas right now, and I just came back a month back, and I'm planning to go back again to even more remote. So they live in austerity. They live in simplicity, and why they go there is because of multiple reasons. Because the world which we have created has many problems. It can be pollution, air pollution, food adulteration, and many things. If given a choice, if I realize that this world is not the world I should live in, what is constantly being coming, the modifications which are happening in the material world in this cities, and is this really the environment I should be living? So those who have realized, and that's why they go to Himalayas or some remote places and live there, because it makes their life easier. Also, these remote places where you cannot even find them, which you were mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
and whom you cannot see. So the more remote a place is, more even difficult to adopt to the nature. And but the silence which it gives, those places will really connect you to the silence, and that silence is very divine, and that divine silence will connect you to your consciousness, to your soul, and it will connect you to God also. You will actually realize that what the world we are living in is does not exist. You will have this experience sometimes, and they are in a constant experience. Those people are in a constant experience. I have had those experiences once in a while, which makes you realize this world does not exist. This is all illusion. The
Explain that.
world,
I understand, but explain that a little bit more for people.
yeah. In fact, I just made a video which will be scheduled to go live after a few days about what this world is an illusion. Now, this
Mm.
is a very interesting thing. A lot of people say this world is an illusion, but what exactly does mean? Do you say that you don't exist or I don't exist? We do exist. But why the world is illusion? Because now there is another way people say. So the problem is how to interpret something. Some yogi or some saint said that this world is an illusion, but how do you interpret it? So probably he might have explained, but now people are interpreting it differently. So I will try to explain this now. It is also said that the mind is creating our own world, isn't it?
Mm.
It's our mind which is creating the world. So how is this world created? A person who has disconnected with the whole external world, suppose, just giving an example, if a yogi who lives in some remote place, he has totally mentally renounced this world. He's disconnected, and for him, this world doesn't really exist. So now, for those people, this world exists means the yogi is not thinking about anything external now. He is focused on his tasks for his body, and he's totally dependent on the nature, because God never created apartments or villas or a car which we are running after in the external world. God basically created, provided everything. This is very difficult to understand, that God really provided everything. If you look at the video of Jora Jintan, she lives in Sweden in the remote village somewhere. She is living in those. There are many people who go to off grid. There are so many videos of off grid. So off grid is pretty much close to what these yogis have done. So but the only thing is, they are not, these guys are not designated as yogis. So uh, the mind is, when the mind is thinking of, suppose, 50 things. Your mind is thinking of some car, that I have to buy a car. Mind is thinking of something happened in your office. Mind is thinking of something which is happening in a relationship. So all the thoughts, the sum total of all the thoughts, is your world at that point of time. And this is also illusion, because all these thoughts are only assumptions, and these thoughts are only bothering you. And we have to realize that we should not be bothered about what's happening externally, because those thoughts are only creating worries. These thoughts which come to our mind, they don't change anything in the world. The world continues to be the way it is, and the situation doesn't change it by only thinking about that. So what we are thinking is basically, that is the world. So that's why it is said, this is an illusion. And third thing is, this everything external is transient. It is all temporary. Like suppose today your wife is happy, and so you're happy. Evening she's unhappy, you are unhappy. So all these things are also constantly changing. So when you're reacting to the external, it will not be constant, because the external is completely transient. Tomorrow your boss is happy, tomorrow your day will be good. Next day your boss is unhappy with you, he shouts at you, your world will be bad. And same source, boss is another source of happiness and unhappiness. So this external world is not really a source of happiness. We have to realize this is a transient source of happiness, and this is not eternal and permanent and constant. So where is that constant source of happiness? This is what has to be searched for, and that is not external. The source has to be permanent. We want happiness which should be permanent, constant. That cannot come from that anything which is transient and physical. That the consciousness which what we are, we have to realize that. And we are consciousness, but we don't understand that we are consciousness. But consciousness comes into the body, and without this body we cannot recognize that consciousness. So the body is just a conglomeration of 5 elements through which the body is created, and all other physical beings in this world have been created. That's the creation of material science. But we are not this body. This is perishable.
But we are a soul, aren't we? Yeah. We are a soul.
Yeah.
Primarily, it is the soul that actually moves the body, because the body cannot move if there is no soul.
Yes.
The soul is actually the mover. It is actually the soul dancing in ecstasy and being connected to the divine. That is why we have this body. As you said, it houses this being and this essence, but we still exist beyond the body. Yeah, so surely then the answer to a lot of things is that we have to reconnect to the soul, and then the soul becomes our guide, and then that also, the mind then becomes, in a way, its servant, as opposed to the other way round. If we're thinking, as you said, about this, then we're not in alignment with our true being.
Yeah. So this is also needs to be understood, that when we say that we are a soul, a lot of people will say that we are a soul. We will probably agree. We all agree to that we are a soul.
Well, we all have a soul, don't we?
Yeah. So we all agree, but this has to be experienced. See, I'm trying to mention a very important point here, that this has to be experienced and not just understood. Because when we learn something, we read a book. We can read a book. We can listen to someone. But the third way is that we experience it.
Yes.
So till the time we don't experience, the learning is not perfect, and it doesn't get embedded inside. It doesn't, we don't start living it then till the time we don't experience it. So to experience it, we have to really do a lot of self-inquiry, maybe through the books or through the learning, through a constant companionship, through wise conversations on a regular basis. Because how much of wise conversations are we having? How much time do we give to our self-development?
Not enough, I would say.
How much self-inquiry do we do? Without that, we will, yeah. So without that, we will not get that experience.
Do you think, though, Shiv, the quickest way, I think, to lift these veils of the physical world is through love?
Yes. So now again, have you completed? Like, I'm sorry, did I interrupt?
Sorry?
Did I interrupt you? You completed the question?
No, I
you were saying.
completed it. I completed
Okay.
it, yes.
So yeah, love is the essence of living human being. Love is the essence of living, but now we have to understand what is love. Because if you ask 10 people, if you ask 10 audience or 20 audience, they all will give different definition. But love is what I will tell, love is not physical love, first of all. Like we say, love at first sight or this and that.
Yeah.
That's lust. That's basically lust. So we have to be now. Here comes the discriminatory ability of people to really interpret every word correctly. This is something very important. The clarity and brevity about life is all mixed in the words, and interpretation is something which is very, very important. So what love, in my understanding, love is a sum total of all the good human qualities. If you are totally pure, this is purification of mind. What we are discussing is purification of mind, and there is purification of body. Both together parallelly is needed. Actually, that's what the yogi do. So purification of mind is basically understanding that all my flaws are cleared, removed, and that's what needs contemplation, observation, and slowly we have to work on our flaws, and and then we transform ourselves. And as we purify, as we become totally purified, then the love which comes, which naturally flows. Today we are blocking the love. It's conditional. Today our love is conditioned by greed and ego and non-caring, selfishness, and so many negative qualities. If you become totally positive, if you become selfless, very caring, empathetic, passionate, egoless, all that, generous, whatnot, unconditional. And when we reach that unconditional love, then you don't need anything else.
And how do we do that?
So we have to do the self-inquiry about our own self. See, the human, my job is to purify myself. I cannot purify somebody else. I can definitely guide someone, direction, handhold for some time. But if the other person is not putting in any effort and trying to still run to these commercial meditation teachers or all that, who are only selling techniques, because they are looking for shortcuts. This needs some effort initially. So if you have to do a self-inquiry to find out your own flaws, now who has really thought that what all qualities a human supposed to have? In my book, I have created a human mirror where I have listed down some 45 qualities of humans, and you can make a scale of chart where you can start assessing your own self. You can only assess yourself, and that needs self-inquiry. Like today I did something. Was there an ego in this? Was I angry? Why was I angry? Did I do something bad here? When we start finding in our thoughts and actions that I'm doing something bad, then only you can start preventing it slowly with practice. And this self-inquiry is needed for about all your thoughts and actions to catch up all your flaws which are coming. And as you practice this, your mind, the brain is now tuned to take a feedback, and then you are able to prevent it, and you have to use a willpower. So initially the willpower will be weak, but slowly it will become strong because you are sincere, you are really serious about transforming, because you know, if you transform, you will only benefit, nobody else. It's ultimately you have to benefit. So when this transformation starts, and when you start finding flaws, this self inquiry, slowly the purification happens. Your quality starts tuning towards positive side. You become selfless, you become caring, you become hardworking, you stop having expectations, you start accepting, you reduce our attachment. So many qualities are there. Are we attached or we are detached? So we have to understand the creation. So a lot of self inquiry is needed. It is not I mean, like I taught in Spain in 21 days and one yoga teacher training course. So in 21 days, it was good enough to really take people through the depths of each human quality. We used to spend 90 minutes just discussing ego. Then only people understood. And then we take a lot of examples when people will ask questions. So
Is that
this
something that
this
you teach, Shiv?
I was teaching in Europe. I conducted some retreats and workshops in few countries. Like I went to Spain, where I took a longest course of 21 days. Then I went to Geneva and went to Brussels. Then I went to where Budapest. Then I was teaching
Hmm.
in Warsaw because I was in Warsaw. I went to Prague. I taught in Prague also, Antwerp. So a couple of places I went. Then COVID came and it stopped. And then I came back and then I was focusing on some of the videos which I was making because I thought this is another good medium to reach out. So I made very interesting videos. But again, videos are very random. People will see 5, 6 videos, then they will probably give up. So it depends how sincere you are, because I also learned a lot from the videos initially.
Hmm.
And these videos were of some of those famous yogis from India, Swami Vivekanand, Yoganand Paramans, whose book is very famous, Autobiography of a Yogi, then a couple of more saints. And I used to listen to their videos. They're very short, 10-minute, 5-minute videos. So every day I'll spend one or two videos. So that became a practice for me, and I started enjoying that. And so a lot of learning came from there also, though I don't read books, unfortunately. But now I am reading one book now, which is a very high level of spiritual book. So,
What
so
book is
that's
it, may
how.
I ask?
This is called Yog Vashisht. It is a conversation between one god in India. I don't know if you heard Lord Ram. In fact,
Yes.
recently his temple is been inaugurated. It's a big thing here. So Lord Rama was a person who actually laid down the foundation of humans, how the human should live, what are the limits, what are the boundaries, and what are the rules for a family, for a husband, for a son. So he laid down the foundation. So he's known by that name, the supreme human, who lives, who lives in the boundaries, something like that. It's a Hindi word. So the conversation with his guru. So his guru was one yogi sage Vashisht, who was supposed to be also a son of Lord Brahma, the another Lord. So he was his guru, and you can imagine the avatar. Lord Rama was avatar of Lord Vishnu, but he has his guru who's a human, and the very a deep spiritual conversation at a level of consciousness. This entire conversation is about consciousness. So it is not easy for people to understand who have not really experienced consciousness. So it's a difficult book, and I was reading in my native language Hindi, but even English is our native language, kind of. In fact, I am better in English, so I've just ordered the English version now because some of the words in Hindi I'm not able to understand. So I'm about to receive my English language book now. That's called Supreme Yoga. Supreme Yoga.
Hmm. Hmm.
That
And
book is
where
called
can we
Supreme.
find your books?
My books are available on in India. It's available in Amazon,
Hmm.
India, and UN.
What about around the world?
Outside India, it's available on Amazon.com. Like, yeah, that's why I'm saying it's in America. It's available on
Hmm.
Amazon.com, Amazon.uk, France, Italy, all the geographies of Amazon. It's available. Then
Hmm.
through I have published through Draft to Digital and through Ingram Spark. It's available in almost most of the stores all around the world, right from New Zealand, Australia to UK to Sweden to every country in Europe, and I
Hmm.
think all major bookstores in America, like in New York, Strand Bookstore or Walmart or Gardner's, and I don't remember the names of stores in London now.
Okay, so it's widely available around the world for
Yeah,
people who
yeah.
want to search. Yeah.
On my website, I have given about there's a page about books, and there's another page about order books. In the page where I've written books, I have mentioned the three books and the table of content and what exactly those books are for. And then there is a page called order books where I've listed down all the stores which I am aware by searching online, Googling.
Hmm.
Wherever my name
Okay.
appears in against these bookstores, I have listed some 100+ bookstores where it is available. So anybody wants to buy through these bookstores, they can buy there, but physical copy will not be there. You have to go online because I'm
Okay.
not sure whether physical copies are there, but they are there on the websites. But if you want to buy from Amazon, because I don't know the print quality of these two, which is better. You have to
Okay, so
decide which.
people can look on Amazon and put your name in Amazon and it
Yeah,
should come up.
yeah,
And what about Shiv?
yeah,
Yeah, what
yeah.
about finding out more about your work? Where can people do that?
I would say why I wrote the books was the reason that I thought I will document everything which I have experienced and learned.
Mm.
And through the book, it becomes structured because through talks or classes or, uh, or through the YouTube channel, people will not have the patience to listen to all the 100 videos probably. And also in classes sometimes there is a time limitation, like in fact my classes in Warsaw, 90-minute class used to go for 3 hours. They were very keen to continue, and I could also not stop it. The discussions are very deep. You can talk have a class of
Mm.
5 hours also, and you will not feel like coming out because it's very engrossing. Because we have gone into depths of spirituality and human psychology. So
It's a very deep subject, isn't it?
yeah, it's a very deep subject.
Spirituality. And I think in a world now that is so far from its own spiritual self in a way, it's something that is very needed out there right now.
Yes, somebody serious, really serious and sincere, they will get it. I can tell you, I can bet. If somebody is really serious and sincere, they will get it. But
But they have
no,
to try.
this
This is
another
the
illusion.
thing. We have to
The
try.
problem is when whatever we try to do in life, there is always an illusion which comes in. So there we have to navigate through a lot of fake stuff, fake teachers, fake stuff. A lot of fake stuff is there in the world. So even like if you go to Himalayas, you will find one good yogi, but you may find 10 fake yogis. You'll lose your time, but that's how things move.
And that's
That's
how
a
it
kind of
is.
effort.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that.
It
So my
is. It's
books are
like
good.
that.
Yeah, my books are a good direction, good guidance, and
Mhm.
YouTube videos also they can see, and maybe they can always contact me. I can always guide. For me, it's
Where
like
is the
a
best
passion.
place to contact you?
They can contact me on WhatsApp. They can send me a mail. I do get a
Okay.
lot
And
of
you have a
mails and
website,
what's.
don't you?
Yeah, I have a website. My contact details are given over there. So shivmathur.com. They can definitely contact me, and I can try my best to help them.
Okay. And, you know, now as we approach the end, Shiv, I want to
Yeah.
say it is such an interesting subject and something that for people out there who are listening, and also for myself, it's a reminder again that you have to begin somewhere. You have to take that first step towards your own enlightenment. That is the most important thing. And from what I'm listening to you today, is if you are sincere in that quest, you will find the way.
Yes, I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today, Shiv. It's been an absolute
Thanks.
pleasure to talk to you.
Yeah, Mimi, it was really wonderful to talk, though it was like a drop in the ocean. But
Of
I
course, of
feel this
course. I mean,
discussions.
where do you begin? Where do you begin? But before you go, I
Yeah.
wanted to say to you, because I have a love for the Himalayas, although I have not been as yet, but
Mhm.
you can look at I always look at where people are listening to the podcast. And funnily enough, for the past few months, interestingly, it's been the Himalayas. It's been that area. So it's actually astonishing that here you are with your calling and your connection to the Himalayas, and that a lot of people are listening to the podcast in the Himalayas is incredible. And I always think there's a reason for everything. And somehow the divine plan puts people together that have this same yearning for this same path.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Beautiful.
anybody needs any guidance in terms of coming to India, going to Himalayas, or need any other help, they can definitely reach out to me, not a problem.
All right. So when I make my trip to the Himalayas, I will contact you and you can
Sure.
guide me as to where and how to do it.
Yeah, I can definitely do that.
Excellent.
With pleasure,
Excellent.
with pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much. And I know in India it's the evening now. I wish you a beautiful rest of the evening and I wish you all the very best, Shiv.
Yeah, I also thanks a lot, Mimi, for inviting me, and I also wish everyone, you and all your audience, wish, very good luck, and I would say God bless everyone.
Oh, yes. God bless. Take care.
Thank you, Mimi.
Bye.
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 Shiv Mathur. Fascinating story. And I am really blessed to hear and share such wonderful stories with you. And I really appreciate all your wonderful comments on the show. It really means so much to me. Thank you so much for listening, and do something beautiful for yourself today, because you are all such beautiful souls. Until next time, look after yourselves and lots of love.
Thank you for listening to Secrets for an Inspirational Life, brought to you by your host, Mimi Novic. Please remember to subscribe to the podcast, and see you in the next episode. For more information about Mimi Novic and her books, music, and inspirational work, take a look at her website, www.miminovic.co.uk.